Hi everyone, Stepan here with another training game. Slightly lower rated opponent, Surprise Kenny. Maybe he doesn't make a move, maybe he does. Okay, he does. d4, d5. We'll see what happens. It's kind of rough that you have to get paired down a lot in these games. But I'm not declining or aborting any games regardless of my opponent's rating. So if you can hear some noise, the dishwasher is on, so I'm sorry about that. I guess everything else should be okay. Okay, the closed Catalan. I don't like playing against this. Okay, I'll just play the principled moves. I don't want to take on c4. I'm gonna try to go b6, bishop b7 and prepare e5. My bishop either goes to d6 or to e7. I prefer it on d6 for e5, although I'm not really sure what the theoretical move is. I reckon both could be okay, however I have to watch out for e4. And then takes, takes, takes. Does my bishop still belong on d6? That's the question. It's always tough to decide where the bishop goes. Usually against fianchetto structures, I'm gonna put the bishop on e7. Let's see, how far away is he from e4? So bishop d6, castles, castles, rook e1, b6, e4, takes, knight, takes, rook takes, knight f6. Seems okay. So I'm gonna play bishop d6. If he plays c5, that would be a big mistake, giving up the center. I'm still not sure about bishop d6, but okay. I could also go for a quick e5. If he plays rook e1, I could go dc4 and e5. I don't want to go e5 before dc4. I've prevented knight e5. So I'm expecting rook e1 here. And then if dc4, e4, e5 seems fine. If b3, dc4, bc4, e5, takes, knight takes, also seems okay. So maybe I don't have to go for b6. I have two pawn breaks. I have to go for one of them, either e5 or c5. For the moment, I've prepared e5. Unless he plays bishop f4, which is interesting. I still think rook e1 is the move for him. Against which I could consider knight e4, but I don't really want to double my pawns. The thing with these closed Catalans is that if you don't get your pawn break in time, if white plays knight e5, then you're just worse. But in this position, after bishop d6, knight e5 isn't playable. c5 isn't playable. On rook e1, I could take on c4. He plays e4. I go e5. e4 immediately. Doesn't that lose a pawn? Okay, so takes, knight d2. Takes, knight d2. e5, d5. I mean, unless I decide to hold on to the pawn with knight takes e4. Knight e4, knight e4, d4, knight d2, f5, queen b3, threatening c5. I could then go rook e8. I don't know this pawn sacrifice, if I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I don't know if I should take the pawn or not. Knight e4, knight e4, d4, knight d2, or knight g5. Ooh, knight g5. Yeah, he doesn't play knight d2, he plays knight g5. And then I go knight f6. He takes on e4. I mean, I'm gonna have to break with e5. The only question is, do I trade my knight first or not? So d4, knight e4, knight e4, knight d2, no, d4, knight g5, e5. Okay, I'm taking with the pawn. I want to go e5. So, e5, knight e4. Yeah, I wish my bishop was on e7. Okay, I still have to go e5. I need to liberate my bishop. I'm not sure if this is equal or not. I don't know whether I should retreat my bishop to c7 or to e7. Once he takes on e4. So knight c4, if bishop e7, he takes on e5, knight e5. Probably I retreat the bishop to e7, not to c7. He doesn't have knight c4, knight c4. Okay, he took with that knight. I mean, should I consider giving up my dark squared bishop? I don't think so. So ed4, knight d6, dc3 seems pretty bad for me. bc3, so yeah, I think I have to retreat. I think bishop e7 is necessary. Okay, I'm gonna play bishop e7. If he takes on f6, I take with the bishop. If he takes on e5, I take with the knight, threatening the c-pawn. I should have played bishop e7, bishop d6 was a mistake. But there's nothing I can do about it now. I mean, I think he takes on e5. Unless bishop e3 is playable. Okay. Now if he goes knight, okay, d5. d5. I could go knight b6. But then he takes on c6. This guy is outplaying me very well. I don't like my position. I don't know what to do. Okay, I'm gonna take. I don't want to lose my c-pawn. He takes with the knight. I go knight b6. He takes on f6, queen f6. What's my knight doing on b6? I also have to play quickly. I'm wasting too much time on decisions that should be made quickly. I don't want my knight on b6, but I don't see what else I can do. I could go knight b8, but that's kind of bad. Okay, I mean, knight b6, knight f6, queen f6. If he plays c5, what do I do? Knight d7, c6. I'm much worse. I could consider transferring my knight to d4. Knight c5, e6, d4. I'm gonna do that. At least I'll have a knight on d4 for the bishop pair. My position is very bad. I've been outplayed because I made a mistake of playing bishop d6 and losing two crucial tempi. Maybe he doesn't even have to take on f6. I don't know. I'm losing control of this game, or I'd already lost it, but I'm gonna keep fighting. I don't remember being outplayed this hard out of the opening. Usually I'm okay out of the opening. Okay, my plan was to go knight e6. So I'm gonna go knight e6. I'm gonna try to get the d4 square. I can never go bishop d7 because he takes on f6, and if queen f6, then queen d7. So how do I develop? What if he just moves the queen and plays rook d1? That's kind of scary. I want to go knight d4, bishop e6. For the moment, that doesn't lose the b7 pawn because I have rook b8. Taking the pawn on b2. Two and a half minutes ahead on the clock. I'll try to play quickly to at least get him to start getting into time trouble. Also, I can never play bishop d7 because he takes on f6 and then on b7, but yeah, he just wants to play rook d1. That's a good idea. I could try to go bishop g5 now. Save the bishop pair. Because he doesn't have a way to decline and he cannot go f4. I mean, he could go f4, but it seems pretty bad. So bishop g5, queen g5, knight g5. Knight c7, rook b8 seems okay. I'm gonna try bishop g5. If I don't have to lose the bishop pair, I don't want to lose the bishop pair. Also, I'm trying to weaken the d4 square so that my knight can jump into d4. I think I take with the queen. Not a good position, not a good game. Very often when I play these queen pawn openings, I end up in positions that are slightly worse and I have to make weird concessions and play awkward moves. This is actually a great example of that. I played 5 or 6 moves, which I would never consider in a normal position, but I couldn't see a good alternative. Still, I think I should have taken on f6. This way I'm trading bishops by force, unless he plays f4. 3 minutes ahead on the clock. He's getting low on time. I think he has to take. I mean, if I take, I don't think he takes with the queen. He takes with the pawn to guard the d4 square. But then bishop d7. Does he have knight f6 check? Gf6, no. I don't know. He has 2 minutes left. When you have less active pieces and less space, which is the case here, you should trade pieces. So let's trade pieces. He took with the queen, okay. Now, I think I have to go f6. Although I could consider queen g5. If I go f6, I have the d4 square, but what am I weakening? He doesn't have knight f6 check or knight e7 check, because I take with the queen. He could go knight f4, but I go queen e7. He could go knight c7, but I take with the queen. Knight b6 I take with the queen, so f6 seems okay. If he goes bishop h3, I go knight d4. Okay, I'm playing f6. Seems dubious, but I think I'm not hanging any dangerous discoveries. Playing f6 may not be such a big deal since I still have a light squared bishop and it's not a good piece. So knight d4 and bishop e6 would complete my development in a very comfortable way. If he moves the knight, I'm going probably queen e8 or queen e7. More likely queen e8. What? I don't get c5, but okay. Knight d4 seems logical. So I'm going knight d4. I need to finish development. If knight e7 check, I move my king. I don't want to take and trade, although I could. So knight e7, queen e7, rook d4, bishop e6 maybe. I can move my king. I can also... Okay, he doesn't do any of that. So how do I finish development? So bishop e6. I mean, I could consider something else, but I don't see what. Bishop e6, if he moves the knight away, threatening the b7 pawn. Okay, I'm playing bishop e6. Aha. Yeah, I didn't see that. Well, what can I do now? There's nothing I can do. Yeah, I didn't see that. It's just a stupid move. Ah! I get very upset when I make simple blunders. I wanted to hurry up because he was in time trouble. I should not have played quickly. Okay. I'm gonna try to play actively. He wants to go knight e6. I have to watch out for that. How scary is knight g6, king g8, queen e6 check? Is checkmate? Wow. Queen e6 check is checkmate. Queen e6 is checkmate. How do I deal with this? So if I go h6, knight g6, king g8, queen e6, oh, I could just consider going king g8 now, but then bishop c4, bishop d5. So if I go g5, knight g6, king g7, then he has knight e6 check. My god, why doesn't anything work? I don't see a solution to this. Okay, I'm playing h6 because I don't see another move. I need to give my king the h7 square. This is incredible. Ah, he has queen f6 check. Okay. This is unreal. How did he play so well? This is very, very strange. Okay, let's enable the engine. Okay, so knight e4 is the move. Let's see. Knight e4 was correct. And then bishop e7, okay? Okay, I blundered, that's fine. G5 was the only move. Yeah, I had no other options. I could have gone queen d7, that's true. That delays mate a bit. But not for long. Okay, I got destroyed. He played a perfect game. He just played perfectly. I had no chances at all. And then I ended up blundering. He just played a perfect game. Great job. I mean, I got destroyed from start to finish. And all of his moves were very natural, and he finished the game very nicely. I believe I had something here when I played knight d4. So if I don't blunder, let's say I don't blunder, I go bishop somewhere else, like here. And then I develop my queen again somewhere, let's say here. The engine still says I'm much worse after f4, which is true. Yeah, I'm just much worse whatever I do. Bishop e6 just blunders. I'm surprised nothing worked here. I believed I had him here, but not really. So if I go g5, how does he... Okay, this should not work now. Wait, king g8. Yeah, not... Why did I only look at king g7? I go king g8. And then rook d2. Queen d2. Bishop a8. Takes. Yeah, this was the... And now he has to go for a perpetual. Okay, h6 is just very bad. If I go king g8, he still plays queen f5. Yeah. Okay, congratulations to my opponent, I got smashed. Great job. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully the next game will be better. Stay tuned for more chess. Bye.